Welcome back to Inner Alchemy. So, today we are talking about something everyone has wondered at some point. Is he or she actually my person? And I wanted to share something that completely changes the way you look at relationships. It's simple, it's powerful, and honestly, it saves years of overthinking. It is called Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. If you struggle with confusion, mixed signals, and constantly hoping someone will change someday, today's video is going to bring you so much clarity. So let's get into it. So here's the idea, and I promise you it's a game changer. Let people be exactly who they are, not who you want them to be, not who you are hoping they'll become, just who they are. And instead of listening to what they say, start watching on what they do. Keep a laser focus on what actually they do. People actually can talk beautifully, and but their patterns, their consistency, that's who actually they are. Like, if a guy says, I love hanging out with my friends every day, that's just me, please believe him. He's not going to do it for next 3 months and stop. He's going to do that for another 60 years of life. And let's say if a woman says, I'm not emotional, I don't express much, she's not just going to wake up in another 5 years and suddenly give you a deep emotional conversations. So this isn't about judging them. It's about accepting reality instead of fighting against it. And this is the hard part, okay? Sometimes you're genuinely with a good person, no drama, no toxicity, but deep down, they're not your person. And that hurts, right? That really hurts because we think love is enough, and but it's not. But compatibility, it's more than love. It's values, it's your future vision, it's lifestyle, it's dreams, it's energy. So you can deeply care about someone and still know that they are not aligned with the lifestyle you actually want. And that's not rejection. That's clarity. That's emotional maturity. And there is this study from Gottman Institute, and I love this because it's so real. 69% of issues couple argue never get resolved. Meaning, most of the things you're annoyed about your partner, they're not going anywhere. That's that little habit, that personality trait, that preferences that drives you crazy, it stays. So the real question is, can you live with that without constantly complaining about it? Can you really accept it? Because if you have been bitching or complaining about it, about the same issue for 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, it's not a small problem. That's actually a compatibility mismatch. And here is the biggest sign that someone is not your person. If staying with them requires you to go against your core values or give up your dreams, it will never work in the long term because eventually you shrink, you suppress, you resent, and then blame them for the life you did not get to live. Even even loving relationships, can fall apart under this kind of silent pressure. Your person will not require you to abandon yourself. Please remember this. Your person will never require you to abandon yourself. They will always help you expand yourself, expand, grow yourself emotionally, spiritually, financially, every which ways, whichever is possible. So let's say, okay, let's take a couple of examples here. So let's say you want a quiet weekends, exploring, deep conversations, traveling, but he wants to spend every weekend drinking with friends. You keep thinking, maybe he'll mature. Maybe once we live together, it'll change. No, 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 no. That's who he is. Let him be who he is and accept that it this does not match your lifestyle requirement. And okay, let's take another example. You're so ambitious, you want to build something, you want to grow, but your partner dreams of calm, predictable life. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But they don't want to risk, they don't want change, they don't want expansion. Now here's the truth. Both visions are valid, but the mismatch is massive. And if you choose them, you will eventually choose against yourself. And that is where resentment is born. That is where actual resentment is born. Your person supports your expansion, not your contraction. Okay? So, if you want one single question that tells you the truth about your relationships, here it is. Can I stop complaining about this forever? Not for a week, not for a month, not for a year, but forever. And if your body says no, you already know your answer. Love requires acceptance. Compatibility requires alignment. And the alignment is something you cannot force. It should happen as you go. It is organic. Okay, so if this conversation gave you clarity, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this perspective. And remember, inner alchemy isn't about changing other people. It's about transforming inward so that outer world finally makes sense. See you in the next one.